So hopefully everyone can see that now. So what I've done is I'm sharing exactly what's on my device at the moment. So to get set up on it, it's available for phone, tablet, and it is actually available on desktop as well. So that'll be coming out in January. So for now, you can download it from the Google Play Store or the App Store on iOS or Android, and it'll just take through all the standard sign-up processes. What I've actually done is I've skipped a step because I've already got my account set up. It'll take you through just your kind of language of study, your little avatar, your ability, kind of what level you're at. And it's a smart platform, so the goal is for it to start to suggest things that might be the best position to support your study. So there's loads of quizzes within the platform. We've been actually partnered with Queen Mary for 4 years now. So there's been lots of kind of iterations since we first started, and there's about 20,000 quiz questions. There's loads of flashcards. There's loads of different simulations, and that's where we really stand out. So once you arrive at the platform, this is the Explore section. So you'll see the catalogue of all different contents. We've got muscle and head and neck anatomy, oral anatomy and biology, history and examination, restorative. So loads of different modules. And within a module, if we were to say head and neck anatomy, you'll find a range of different topics. And all of these, so where immersify is different from kind of like learning management systems, kind of like Moodle and Blackboard, where we are different is we actually do have an internal publishing department. So that's made up of dental experts, and we work with quality assurers all around the world to ensure that the content within the platform is verified, it's credible, it's peer reviewed. So you can rely on what's included in there. And we also create lots of different simulations. So if we were to go to muscles of the head and neck, for example, you'll see this is the muscles of the head and neck topic. There is hundreds of activities to go for, but I'll show you a little bit about the feed in a second to help make that a bit more manageable. But within a topic, you'll find things lessons. So if I jump into one of our lessons here, and let me just share my audio as well, so you should be able to hear it. So that load. So just to bear in mind that obviously it does all kind of depend on internet connection, but generally we've got what's called a cache in the back. So if you were to load a lesson or load a simulation, you only my screen mirroring software is just disconnected. Bear with me just 1 second. I'll reconnect that. This isn't the immersify platform. Just okay, let's try that again. So it's just loaded into this lesson now. So let me show you. So if I was to click, I'll restart this one so you can see it from the beginning. And actually, I'll change all my settings back so it's not an orange background, because lots of kind of neurodivergency support features and dyslexia modes. So it's made to be something for everybody. It's an inclusive platform. So I'll unmute it. What's really great is there's lots of these little bite-sized lessons. So they're all got audio voiceover. So if I click play.
Best understood by dividing it into sections. Initially, the anterior and posterior triangles.
I'll just pause it there. There's actually a range of different tutors. So some have got US accents, some have got British accents. So it depends on what topic that you're studying, what kind of virtual tutor they'll be there to deliver it. So this one happens to be US. There is the visual element. So if I just tapped on this little button here with the drop down, but these are 3D models that you can rotate and have a look around and zoom in on. So the goal of immersify is it's there with you every step of the way. So as you're progressing through your course, it's there to support. It's got lots of great content to help you maybe
anterior muscles
primarily to help you understand the content and give it some perspective, so you can see the different muscles. Sometimes they'll highlight, sometimes there's animations. There's lots of different things to explore within the platform. And you'll see that there's kind of 16 points within this particular lesson. Each of these have got every paragraph has got associated multiple choice questions. So as you're progressing through, if you do a quiz on muscles of the neck, and maybe me and Mavet both did a quiz and I got question 7 wrong and Mavet got question 5 wrong, it would then start to understand that, give Mavet more content related to question 5 and me more related to question 7. But that's just the lessons, and obviously there's loads of fantastic resources out there for learning content, but what there's really missing is a way to really help understand and give perspective to that content, and that's where our simulations come in. So at the very bottom of this particular topic, there's anatomy, which is very popular with students and professionals, because it's a really good way to identify and help support you to learn, in this particular case, the origins and insertion points of different muscles. And it's particularly popular. Oh, it was great for, let me just turn it on. I'm usually in augmented reality mode, but I don't think I am at the moment. This one's got a really great augmented reality feature. And I can show you without the augmented reality, but if you, I think it's just probably my camera permissions, but what this will do is it'll superimpose the skull onto my head as well, so you can do it on yourself and see how that looks. But I can rotate it and have a look around, but I've got to select where I think the origin point and the insertion point of the levator angularis oris left. So if I think patient left and right, so let's go with that. And you'll see it slowly start to fill those muscles in. So the orbicularis oris, if I was to go there. And as I progress through, it asks me different muscles. So it'll give me a score based on how close I was to each of those. So the depressor anguli oris left. So I know it's on, could be on this side. The depressor, I think it's around there. And it's a testament to the platform that I can get most of these correct, because I've never sat down and particularly learned this subject. It's just through showing it off, through demoing, through osmosis, really, that I've learned all the muscles of the head and neck for better or for worse. Other side. And what's really great is you can just go back and correct your mistakes for this one. So as a means to, it can be very difficult to learn old Latin words and try and give it perspective and context. But with these gamified simulations, you can see how, it can be a lot more kind of engaging and easy for you to understand. But that's just one. I've just kind of gone through a little bit of muscles of the head and neck, but there is so many different topics in the platform. Cranial nerves, which is a really difficult subject. Got a lot to visualize there. Things like charting, for example. So if I was to go to dental charting, this one. Oh. So with this particular one, so you can choose your notation systems, and this is, again, it's a very difficult subject to ever get enough practice on, because you might, you can do it in your clinic time, but it's a good chance for you to practice before you go into the clinic and really understand all the soft skills around it. So what I've actually done is it'll detect, hopefully it's not too jumpy on your side, that'll just be due to the internet, it's very smooth here, but if I then detect where the floor is, and I can say, right, okay, that's great, I'm going to place my phantom head there, and you'll see the phantom head is always, and it'll fix itself to the ground, so it'll always stay in the same spot. But the mirror, that will always be in the middle of the phone. So actually, when I tap on the cheek to retract that away and actually move the phone closer to the patient, I can actually use that as a mirror. So you'll see there's a little 2 in the top left corner. And what I've got to do is I've got to find the 2 things that it's directed me to. So it looks like here, I can see what looks like a metal filling and amalgam restoration on that upper right 5, I think. So if you were to tap on the middle button, this blue button in the bottom center, they say, great, what did I find? So the upper right 5 had an amalgam restoration. I think it's on those surfaces. So right, let's submit and see what it says. So yeah, got that one correct, but actually it looks like, if I tap on the little arrow there, it looks like I actually missed a ceramic restoration, which can be obviously quite tricky to see because they're tooth coloured. So again, it's a really good way. There's hundreds of levels in this, and there's actually a random generation mode. So you could do this simulation 1 trillion times and it wouldn't be the same, because there's so many different combinations of things to look for. So it's a means to get all the practice. Sure, let me jump back in there. So it's the lower left position of the, you just pull me up the chat. Yeah. Right. Position of the mirror in the lower left. So, again, recognises the floor, place our hand in head. So with the lower left, so obviously you can, you can move around, you can move your chair around. So I could go this way around to get that lower position of the left, and point it to there. But actually, there's a little toggle, and you see this toggle here. And obviously, it's been very important for us to do things like keep a good posture and ensure that you're doing the kind of logical step for charting. But this little toggle here will actually move the face of the mirror, and that's kind of our solution to ensure that you can access and see all the different areas, because it's really the simulation all about learning all of the soft skills, the really important stuff, so that when you get to practice, just tilt that around a little bit.
You've gone in again now. It could be a different, it could be something else that you're looking for now that you've gone back into the simulation.
Yeah. So I think obviously you can see a lot of the bottom left, but it's more about that kind of behind the 8. So kind of looking there. So like I was saying, it is, we're not, all of our simulations are not there to replace all the fantastic clinical practice you get and all the learning that you get from going throughout your course, but it's there to supplement, it's there to support, and it's there to help you practice all the soft skills, particularly with charting. There's things like knowing the different surfaces and symbols, the mesial versus your distal, and being able to see things in reverse and making sure that you understand the notation systems, so that actually when you do get a chance to practice that in real life, in a real clinical scenario, you can concentrate on those really important things that you might be too distracted by the theory to concentrate on. And it might be proper finger rest, proper posture, maybe good communication with the patient, to ultimately make sure that you're becoming the best clinician you can be. So yeah, so there's lots and lots of different simulations in the platform. There's things on local anesthesia, dental prescribing. So there's an option to, and we're constantly developing new content as well. But if I was to go for, let me go for this mesial restoration, so I know I've done this one. With local anesthesia, again, another very difficult subject to practice, because you do practice on each other. It's something that is so often done, but very difficult to practice on. So here, what is really important about this simulation, it's not necessarily about the dexterity of it or actually doing the procedure. It's all about the scenarios and the decision making and the process. So you get a brief, and the brief is, in this particular circumstance, a lower right 2 mesial restoration. And then it might be that the patient is taking a particular medication, maybe they're taking warfarin, or maybe they've got a heart condition. And then there's lots of unique circumstances within this, within each level, to really assess whether to make those decisions, or adjust your decisions based on the patient scenario. So in this example, it might be what needle length you use, what type of anesthesia, so I was to use a long needle, articaine, and then with adrenaline, but it might be if the patient has a heart condition, you choose not to use adrenaline. And then you can choose whether you want to do an infiltration or a block. So I think it was a 2. And then it'll line the needle up for you, because it's more about site selection at this point. So instead of it being about kind of aligning up the needle perfectly, you can adjust the angle of the needle, but that's only as a kind of visual aid for you to realise kind of where it's hit in a later stage. So if I stick red, I could choose another site if I wanted to, or I can just click finish, which I just did, and you get a debrief, which is written by one of our experts as well. There's lots of correct ways to do this particular scenario, so it might be that there's multiple correct answers, but it's more about that process and that learning. So you can then, there's a little views button here in the lower right 2, will then show you, because I adjusted the angle of the needle, this is where the tip of the needle hits this sphere. And these are the teeth that are likely anaesthetized, because we have all the nerves mapped, and obviously there's still complications to consider, and there's still blood vessels and nerves and things like that. But it does give you a good indication of which teeth are likely anaesthetized. And then, of course, you get a score at the end. there is, I think there's hundreds of activities within the platform, so which I'll go through a couple more, but I'll take you a little bit around the interface as well, so you can see, how to kind of use the platform. And there's lots of QR, so you might see immersify QR codes around, whether that's on social media or within your LMS system. There's, in the top corner here, there's a little scanner, and that's our QR code scanner. So if you see one of those, it will jump you straight to a specific activity, or it might jump you to, it might add a topic to your explore section. So there's lots of different QR codes that do different things, take you around the platform. There's, say, around, we've got a great one on the basic periodontal exam, so you can see, you can practice all your different codes. Got some, let's try to show, around prescribing oral medicines as well, a chance to kind of get a particular circumstance from a patient and practice prescribing. But if I was to go to, let me jump into my feed. So this is our feed. So there's a few tabs in the bottom. So I just kind of went through explore, but we've actually got this feed section. And what this will do is if you are studying tooth morphology, for example, like this is what I've got selected in my feed at the moment. But if I was to, let me edit it, and I will take away a couple. It's a little bit cleaner. So I've just got these two topics now, but what this will do is give you new activities every day in order to help you get better at this subject. So here we've got a lesson on the maxillary central incisor to show you all the kind of key differences. Maybe there's some flashcards, which I won't jump into right now. Yeah, maybe I will. So some flashcards, so you can see, how is the incisal margin and maxillary centrally positioned. And you can decide whether you are unfamiliar or mastered. So I'll say unfamiliar with that one. So it'll come back again in future flashcard sessions, and so on and so forth. There's loads of these flashcards. I think there's something like 15,000 flashcards, all on different topic matters. So a really good way to self-assess and understand where you're at with each individual subject. I'll go back to my feed. Again, you'll see that is at the top there, so I'm 0%, I didn't finish it off, but I can go back and finish that. Let me find another one. That's a really good one on tooth morphology that might not be in my feed at the moment. This one's been, really, really good for students. There's loads of activities within here. So if I go right to the bottom, we've got one called Dental ID, which is really simple, but really straightforward and really, a really kind of unique, gamified, engaging way to learn the different teeth and test your knowledge on that subject. So we've got a 3D modeling team at immersify, so they build lots of these great 3D assets to practice on. So we've got about 3 different full adult teeth sets, as well as some deciduous teeth and primaries. And what it does, it'll give you've got 32. So there's a few different versions. Sometimes it's timed, sometimes it's how many teeth to do. But here we've got the so it'll ask you, is it from the upper or the lower arch? So let's say upper, and then it'll ask you if it's the right or the left, which I think this is from the left, and then it'll ask you what tooth it is. So I think it'll be the central incisor. That's good job. I got one that I knew straight away, but there's plenty that I don't. So again, you can see you can rotate this, have a look around. So I'm just moving this myself now, so I can look at the occlusal surface if I wanted to, get a feel for how many cusps there are, how many roots, and once I feel like I know it, I can say. That. And there is actually another fun element to this is there's actually some negative marking here. So if I was to get them all, if I got them all wrong, then it will just bring my score back down to 0. But you get 50 for everyone you get right, and -25 for when you get wrong. So you can keep practicing and kind of get a feel for everything. So there is let me just show you, sharing. So there is some great stuff on radiography and radiology as well, a good chance to kind of interpreting radiographs, which I know can be a very difficult subject. So let's have a quick look at that one. Which will, this is one of our lessons. So we've got some that use 3D models and voiceover, some that use 2D graphics. So we do have some graphic designers on house as well. So if I was to restart, it starts with the kind of straightforward kind of grading dental radiographs, and there's sometimes quiz questions throughout. So I'll go through to the different stages of caries and the different systems you'll come across, and RA1, RA2, RA3, so on and so forth. If I was to just go back, could jump to say perio, the grading and extent. So it's a good chance to just see some really clear examples and some bite-sized content, including all of that. And as I was kind of showed before, but really skipped past it, there's a little settings button here, so you could increase your font size, or you could turn on typewriter text so the text will align with the voiceover, or you could change the background color. So you can really kind of set it up how you best learn. And from the beginning, but this is all available for you through Queen Mary, so you can just create your account using your Queen Mary email. I think we've got single sign-on. Yeah, so we've got the single sign-on set up. So if you just click on the little the toggle that says University Sign-On, and then if you sign in with your QMUL email into the portal, then it'll just automatically give you access to everything within here. There's a progress section, so as you go through the platform, you can see how well you've done, and kind of last week how many activities you've done. You can see your progress. You can see each attempt you've made and how you're growing and progressing. It'll give you some suggestions of areas to focus, or how it can maybe potentially align to the GDC outcomes. And then lastly, we've got this library section, which is where all of your saved activities are, all of your completed activities are. So this is first you go to say reviews. These are ones that I've maybe not touched in a while. First you go to some of the saved ones. If I really like that muscle the head and neck, which I think I've accepted now. This is the one I was going to show you before with the anatomy. Well, I can add this to my saved, and also this is where it's superimposes onto me. Now I've accepted the camera positions. So you can really see